Hi everyone, really glad to see you all today. So for those who don't know me, you can call me Mike, which is short for Mikhail, and I'm kind of new here. I believe it's it's the first workshop that I am doing here. And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's the first workshop on Machinima specifically here on this server, right? Is that correct?
Right. Yes, it is.
Great, yeah. So
this is our very first Machinima workshop.
Ooh, which makes it even more weird for me because by no means do I consider myself as an expert, but I do think
pressure's on, dude.
I do think that I have come up with a couple of cool techniques that I will be glad to share with you today, so that all of us can create our own awesome, personalized, great porn, or cinematic shots, whatever we want to do with that. So yeah, today's workshop is called Camera Action, and we're going to cover the basics for what you need in order to shoot Machinima, starting from the very basic shots to maybe some specific advanced techniques. And the way that I, when I was designing this workshop, I had to think of who's my target audience, who is this workshop gonna be most useful for? And I immediately thought of myself, a couple of years ago, back when I was really critical and really biased towards Machinima, as a genre in general. So maybe some of you know that I've been shooting my Serpent Steel Chronicles in a very bizarre way. So I would do a lot of static screenshots, and then I would create some sort of a slideshow, in a cinematic way. So I imagine that this is sort of the person that I imagine benefiting from it the most. Someone who is pretty comfortable shooting static screenshots that really well posed, and maybe wants to go one step forward. Trying to create some sort of cinematic full-fledged Machinima, but feels kind of maybe hesitant to do so because it can be really, really intimidating. Luckily, after today's workshop, you'll see that it's not that difficult as it may seem. And, we'll see a lot more Machinimas over there on the web. And the way we're gonna structure this workshop today is that we're gonna have 3 parts. 2 of them are pretty short one, and then the main one is gonna be for the last. So first, I'll just introduce you to all the tools that I'm using. So we'll have a couple of pieces of software that I'll just show you and maybe note a couple of noteworthy settings. Then we'll take a look at the final Machinima piece that I have created for this workshop. Oh, by the way, has anyone watched it already? I've posted it here, before that in the chat for the Camera Action Machinima itself. Workshop. That's not a problem because we'll see that just in a moment. And then, for the last and biggest part, we're gonna dissect that short Machinima clip shot by shot because I have all the. Let me actually load my test hood here. So I have the set still in place, pretty much intact. I have my Premiere Pro project in here again, just as it appears. So we'll be able to see exactly how it was done, and I will comment on each and every decision that I've made for it. Alright, so if that sounds good for you, let's then start with the first one, which is introduction of the tools that we're going to be using. Oh, and before we do that, just feel free to ask any questions today in the chat, or just pop in with your microphone. So I'm hoping to make this more of a dialogue and going back and forth. I think it's going to be more engaging and more interesting for all of us. Okay, so starting off with the tools that we're going to be using, first of all is of course the game itself. So I believe that pretty much everyone is using the 18-in-1 or whatever it is, the Ultimate Collection that has all the expansion packs and all the catalogs. It's not like it's prerequisite that you have all of them, but the more you have, the easier it is that the more compatible all of your mods are. And it's probably also noteworthy to say that I'm using the RPC launcher. I believe that everyone does that, right? And the reason for that is that it comes with a borderless window screen. So what you can see now is my full screen mode, and you have no borders like you do if you have the you put the -W in the properties. What we need it for is that with when it's like that, we can really quickly switch back and forth between different windows that we have available. Because before that, I believe a couple of years ago, I was just using the regular full screen mode, and sometimes it would take a minute, 10 seconds to go back and forth, and it really just eats all your time. So yeah, that's it for the game. And right now you can see I have my test hood. This is the shot that, the set that we're gonna take a look at a bit later. Sometimes my game is a bit laggy in the neighborhood view. I'm not sure why that is, but yeah, that happens. It should be much better in the lot itself. Then, the second most important thing that we're gonna need today is some sort of an editing tool. So I'm personally using Premiere Pro because that's the one I'm familiar with, but the stuff that I'm gonna be showing later today is, well, can be done in any other semi-professional tool of your choice. So be it Final Cut, be it DaVinci Resolve, or basically anything else. The only thing is that some stuff that I'll be showing, well, it's not particular to Premiere Pro. Like the titles can be different, you know, the names of the effects, you know, the UI layout can be somewhat different, but in the nutshell, it's gonna be pretty much similar across all the apps that you can find. So yeah, so we have the game, we have the Adobe Premiere Pro as the video editing tool. Another, I would say, like a pretty important tool that we're gonna need is some sort of an external catalog for the animations and the previews. As for the external catalog for animation previews, there are a couple of things that you can use. One of my personal favorites is the Posebox guide on Tumblr. I believe it's NatalieFirexxx who created it. At least that's where the this YouTube button leads to. And what is cool about this is that it, well, basically like a compilation of all the custom-made animation post boxes that you can find. Well, maybe not all of them, but at least the majority. The way it works is you can go and filter by categories. This is pretty much the list of the boxes that you can find, and this is just like the half of it. The other half is hidden this, well, by this button here. We can also search using some sort of keywords. So for instance, let's say we are looking for an animation that has some sort of thing going on with the knee. We insert that, and it shows us where we can find that. If we click on the title of this animation, it usually leads to either some blog or a YouTube video where you should be able to download this Posebox. So it's a really amazing tool. The downside of it is that sometimes more is less, and it can be pretty hard to find some particular ones, especially if you go like into the home mode and it lists all of them in here, and you're like, oh man, like it's just too overwhelming. And even if you try to use the search, and let's say we search once again for something like sword, well, this time it gave us only like 10 results, so it should not be that hard for us to see which ones we want to use. But sometimes, yeah, you can get too much of even in here, and it can be tricky to use them. And the second downside is that these post boxes do not include stuff like JD's expansion pack boxes, which is something that I personally use like all the time. I think they are one of the most versatile and useful boxes that you can find. So for that, we can actually go to my SimFile ShareNet folder, which I have also listed in the list of links. And we can download my previews here that I have got. And I have them on my PC, of course, so I think it's way easier and faster to just look through them when they are just locally stored. And what they are, so I have like most of them. So some of them are for the static screenshots, for static poses. So these are just a bunch of images that you can reference. So the title has the how you can find it in the game, and also the shot of the box itself. So this is the first type of the previews for the static boxes. But what's cool is that I have another one, which is the FLV folder in here. And what these are, it's just a compilation of short videos. Each one just showcases one particular animation that you can find. And the benefit of having it as separate files is that when we have it like this, we can also use the search option. So just like we did before, with the search option here, we can just go to the XYPlorer that I'm using, and let's say again we are searching for something that has knee in it. I will switch the mode to the list like so, and let's see. Well, we have basically every animation that mentions knee in it somehow. So this one says kneeling, then L the rub knee, for instance. So yeah, it's way easier to find the animation that you're looking for than just, try to browse that when you're in the game. And by the way, yeah, the XYPlorer that you can currently see where I'm browsing is an alternative to the Windows Explorer. So this is something that I really suggest you try and explore on your own, because if you've tried searching with, just the default Windows Explorer, or I'm not sure what Mac users are using, sometimes the search can be really laggy. Well, this is one of the tools that allows to negate that. So the search is really snappy. To give you an example of that, let's go to the EA games here. So downloads. So these are all the mods, of course, that we have. So normally, if you try and search for a file when you have like tens or some different files, it takes just, forever to load it with the Windows Explorer. Well, if we try and do in here, like, I don't know, let's try and find my stuff. Yeah, as you can see, the search result is pretty much instant, regardless of how many files you have. And you have all these advanced functions in here that you can even further narrow down the search how you want. Like you can include some sort of tags, you can specify that the file needs to be of a certain length or size. So yeah, really cool thing, and I really suggest that you check it out if you want, explore some alternatives to Windows Explorer. We have the game, we have the editing tool, we have the external catalog of previews. The main thing that we'll definitely need is some sort of the tool that allows us to record our screen. So again, this is one of the things where you can use whatever you like most. So in my case, I am using OBS. One cool thing, by the way, is that currently I'm running 2 OBS studios. You can see that here. So one of them is the one that allows me to have this stream today. We can call it like that, and the one that I'm recording with at the moment. But the other one is that is the stuff that I can be using just to shoot Machinima if I wanted to do it, like right now. And the way you can do that, go into your programs and start the second app, like that. It's as easy as I believe I can even start the third one. So yeah, for something that if you are, let's say, streaming, and you want to record at the same time, or you want to make different stuff, you want to switch the scenes without disrupting your stream, you can do that by running multiple OBS windows. However, what you need to be aware of is that you need to create several profiles to be able to do that. So profiles is something that is located here, right at the top of the OBS screen here. And when you switch between profiles, what that changes is what you have in here in the settings. And the settings here are store some important stuff, like for instance your output folder. So in my case, for instance, I like to use OBS for all sorts of things that I put on my like on my channel. So one of them is like definitely Machinima stuff, then the Let's Plays. So just not to mesh all of those videos files together in just one footage folder, I can really separate them into different profiles. Because if you don't do that and you try to run multiple OBS windows and they record this stuff in the same folder, the computer will try to kind of mesh those two files together, and you're gonna end up with like a corrupted video file. But that may be me going into too much detail. Filming simultaneously streaming is maybe just a technique that not every one of us needs. But anyway, yeah. As for the just general and basic setup for the OBS, I don't have much going on. So in terms of video, I'm shooting in 1080p, and the resolution is, the FPS is 60 for me. That's pretty much enough to provide a decent quality of video that you can put online. But it says, if your computer can handle it, oh yeah, for sure. Especially, handle having 2 OBSs, having a Premiere Pro running as well as the game. Yeah, that can be a strain on your PC. But there are ways to optimize that, I believe. So for instance, if you are running Premiere Pro alongside with your game, like I'm doing, that's like one of the things that I have come to with some practice. I believe in some preferences here, you can lower the amount of RAM that you dedicate to it. Let me just see where it is. I think it's memory. Yeah, so right now my Premiere Pro eats, well, 28 gigabytes of the 32 gigabytes that I have in total. So you can tweak it in here and, try other modes as well. As for the OBS, another thing that you may want to set up when you just maybe first launch OBS is the output folder, because it really pays a lot for you to be organized with your footage. Like I mentioned before, if you let me just show you the way it looks for me. So this is my general footage folder. Like it has some of the stuff that I put here when I was not that organized. But now I try to put in every type into separate folders. So I have one for live streams. That's where my recording of today's workshop will go. Then the one for Machinimas. So that's where all the, let's see, 140 something files went, you know, for the stuff that I created for today. And yeah, all of that can be done in the settings, in the output thing here, output recording. That's where you specify the folder that you want to place your stuff in. And the other really important thing for you to do is to set up a hotkey for recording. Because you really don't want to be doing that with your mouse. Sometimes you want to, you know, start the recording at the same time as you are starting, for instance, the camera movement. And so it's really easy to do that if you set up, in my case, it's like F12 to start the recording. And I press like the numpad 1 to just start the game running like that. Oh, and yeah, by the way, speaking of the different profiles, so hotkeys is part of overall settings. So by changing the profiles, I am changing the hotkeys that I have created. So for instance, right now I am running, let me just show them alongside each other. Maybe that will be a bit easier to understand. So we have OBS, again, as I mentioned, two Windowses. So one of them is Machinima. That's the one that we're gonna use to shoot the actual game. The other one is the one that runs as the webcam for me. So that's how you can see my screen. And with this window, I have disabled the F12 shortcut. So this way, if I now press F12, you'll be able to see that the recording starts only on this one. This one remains, you know, undisrupted, like so. So this way, again, as I mentioned, you can run a stream while simultaneously shooting your Machinima. And you know, during this, with the stream, you can have like your overlays. You can switch your desktop maybe to dual mode like that, and do all sort of crazy thing, while your main window will remain just as you want it to be. Whew. All right, so that is it for the tools. Maybe, you know, one little tool just to end this section with is, you know, like a tool with an asterisk, and that is having a second screen. You should now be able to see the way it is set up for me. And so what my workflow looks like is that I have my game running in full screen mode here. And once again, it's a borderless window set up in RPC Launcher. Then I switch back and forth between the game and my Premiere Pro, because I find it a lot more efficient to just be, you know, trying to create the final footage right away. Because before that, when I was filming my Serpentine Chronicles with static screenshots, I tried to do that, you know, in stages. Like stage 1, I'm just filming all the footage. Stage 2, I'm sorting that footage out. Stage 3, I'm realizing that I have shot some sort of shit and I need to reshot a lot of, you know, scenes. Then stage 4, I'm trying to compile that into some sort of, you know, a streamlined footage. And that is really not efficient, and it took me a lot of time, and I had to redo a lot of stuff. This time around, I'm just trying to do the final, or at least, you know, semi-final, maybe rough draft as soon as I can. No, it may feel as if it takes more time as you're trying to shoot it, but in the long run, you end up with, you know, a rough draft much quicker than if you know, created several stages. So yeah, that is how I run it on my screen 1. So it runs 2 apps for me, the game and my video editing. Then on the second screen, I always have this XYPlorer app. So because this way I can see what I have shot. You know, it already ends. It ends up in my Machinima folder. So whatever I record now, I will be able to see as the number 1. That again makes it really easy for me to then just go and import it to the Premiere Pro here. And with the XYPlorer, I can have it split into 2 halves. So one of them is just, as I mentioned, for the final footage that I'm filming. The bottom half is for my previous catalog. So again, I'm always browsing through the animations and expressions in here, either that with the animations or with, you know, with the screenshots. And also what I have on my second screen is my OBS program running. This way I can always see if I am recording currently at the moment or I'm not, because for some reason OBS doesn't come with such a basic thing as you know, an overlay that says that, well, you are currently recording. So please keep that in mind. There were a couple of moments when I was thinking that I was recording, well, in fact I wasn't, and yeah, let's just say that a lot of hours have been wasted. Yeah, so having two screens is certainly something that I would advise everyone to try. So if you haven't tried that, I think you'll find that very, very useful. Now, let's switch the mode back to the single screen so that, you know, you can see the full screen like so. And well, we're switching to the part 2, which is the little Machinima clip that I have created for today. So that's the one that we're going to be dissecting in part 3. It's just 1 minute and 12 seconds, but I think that's enough for us today to cover. Yeah, there is no sound on purpose, because I believe that sound design is, you know, a whole huge topic of itself, and I believe it's best to dedicate maybe a separate workshop if you're interested in, you know, what effect that has on the Machinima and, you know, what you need to do to come up with great sound design, or at least, you know, good one. Really a huge topic to cover just within one workshop.
That's really cool. There's so much going on in that.
And just in a moment we'll be able to see how that was how that was shot. Yeah, so I will be covering every little shot and you know, the specific techniques and mods that I have used. Because yeah, half of the magic will be going on within the editing tool, because, you know, that is where you can have a lot of stuff.
Oh,
But,
the Posebox.
So that is it for the Machinima. That I suggest we deep dive right away. So yeah, do you have any questions maybe right away? So I can cover those just before we go into each shot one by one.
No, I mean, I thought that...
I had a question.
Yeah,
Sorry,
sure.
go ahead, Rachel.
Oh, so I put this in chat a while ago, but it was for whenever. Do you use only animations, or is there any time you would use static pose boxes in addition?
Oh, that's a great question. That's one of the shots that I wanted to discuss, you know, like as the very first one. Yeah, in this Machinima, I have used both. Well, the majority of it, of course, is the animation, but later on, so if you take a look at the timeline right now, you can see the, you know, the blue boxes, which are the you know, videos, and then the pink ones are the static shots that I've taken. So yeah, there is place for static shots as well, just, you know, to put it short.
That's interesting. Are you using primarily overlays where it's only locking, say, an arm where it holds a shovel, or are you using full body static poses?
What exactly do you mean by overlays? You mean the specific type of the interactions, or
the specific type of animation where, for example, if you have a full body pose, stand with arms crossed, it's going to lock every single joint in the body. But whereas if you have an overlay, for example, say carry shovel, it's only going to lock from the shoulder of the one arm down, and then the rest of the body is able to move independently.
Oh yeah, I see. Oh, well, I try to use overlays as much as I can, because you can then blend them in together. But there is a place for static poses too. Though again, yeah, as you mentioned, some of the pose boxes lock like the entire body, so it's not that convenient. But today, I believe I don't have any of the boxes that, you know, just lock a specific part of the body. But I try to use, you know, maybe we can load to the this test plot here that I've created, and to be able to see the specific mod. Maybe that would be a bit easier for me to explain. The short answer would be I try to use the overlays as much as possible. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, let's get into it. I want to see how this happens.
And as I understand, you know, with overlays, you have the several like modes or priorities, as they call that, priority levels. So you have like priority high, medium, and low. I believe there are 3 of them, right?
Right, so that you can blend it with the full body poses.
Yeah.
For example, if the overlay is set to high and the full body pose is set to medium, then the overlay will take priority.
Yeah, exactly. So as I believe in this case, I was primarily using, you know, these ones created by, well, we mentioned this one during Rachel's workshop. So let me see what it's called. It's the Docker, by the only exception, yeah. So
extracted, yeah. There were like 2 or 3 people that remade it with different priorities, and they switched it from just regular loopable animation to overlay.
Yeah, exactly. So I believe that this one is has medium priority, right? And so I tried to use this one to blend with the other poses if I can do that. But mostly what you'll be able to see is that I'm using just only maybe a separate animation on interaction, or, you know, pose, like animated pose as much as I can. We'll get to that once we, you know, start taking each shot one by one. Oh, and by the way, sorry for the mess, because I was looking for the you know, what do you call that thing that...
anyone who's ever done a story can relate.
Yeah. I was looking for the loudspeaker, yeah, because I wanted Bella Goth, that was standing here in the Machinima, you know, to be shouting cut with the loudspeaker. Because I believe that is something that you're supposed to be getting with the Open for Business expansion pack. Well, turns out it did not came with it. This is, by the way, this mod in action. So it's called the Accessory spawn cheat. So with it you can get, well, maybe not every accessory that you have in the game, but, well, the majority of it. I think I haven't used any of the actual accessories in this short Machinima clip, so all I created is just, you know, this huge mess in here. Alright, so do you have any other questions before we proceed to, you know, shot-by-shot analysis? Maybe not just some general ones. So I guess I'll take that as a no, and yeah, let's then...
I think Vanon's got something. No, we're good.
Alright, cool. So then, I think we'll be starting that in Premiere Pro here. Make it so that you can see it a bit, you know, have a bigger picture in here. The first shot that we can see is, you know, the slow transition from the black screen to this really static one. And that's, yeah, Rachel, where could probably just have used the static screenshot. You know, the only difference that we have is, you know, the moving clouds a bit. But again, this is not really a necessity. Just something that I thought that this is like the most basic that you can get with film in the Machinima. So just a static shot, you have no characters, no moving parts other than, you know, the moving clouds that came with, I believe, the Lush Deus Totalitarianism Sky or something. It's the one that we have in here, yeah. So the Great Sky of Totalitarianism. The way it was shot is simply by positioning the camera like you do with the static screenshots. Again, we are going into the tab mode, whatever you find like most pleasing to look at, but I'm usually doing that in the live mode so that I don't have the grid. And it's kind of necessary for you to be able to see the animations, of course. And then you press the shortcut that you have set up for the recording. So again, let's say that this was kind of the shot, right? Trying to position it, again, following the rule of thirds, of course. So, and one cool thing that I have found out only while doing this Machinima is that within Reshade, you have this guide. Let me show where it is. Yeah, I need to switch to my Let It Simmer cinematic preset. Yeah, Reshade comes with a pretty handy guide with the thirds, which is pretty handy when you're trying to position exactly as you want. So again, rule of thirds, something that you, if you try to position, you know, the main objects within the crossings, well, the shot is gonna be looking good. Maybe not great, but better than it would if you was not following the rule.
Question. How do you get that rule of thirds up if you have Reshade? Is there like a button you push for that?
Yeah, so first of all, the effect itself is called, I believe, just that. It's like thirds. Let me see. Yeah, composition thirds. So yeah, you can enable it and disable, you know, within the Reshade settings, or you can set up a keyboard shortcut for it. So I have created Control T, for the thirds.
And that just comes with Reshade. You don't have to install any like presets for that.
Well, I believe that when you download Reshade and you set it up for the first time, it asks you like what effects you want to download, and I believe I have I've chosen all of them. So I think I have like 300 or something. Like it's an overkill. You don't need all of them. But you know, I was just still in the process of trying to figure out and searching for some cool tools that come with Reshade itself. So yeah, rules of thirds is one of the cool things to have in here too. And yeah, if you set up a keyboard shortcut, you can then easily just put it on, put it off. Just don't forget to do that, because you'll be able to see that I have messed up a couple of shots like that. Just haven't forgotten to disable the rule of thirds here. By the way, I think I have forgotten to do to mention one thing before we dive into the shots themselves, and that is the preparation that you do once you load the the set that you have created for your machinima. Because that's pretty important, I believe, too. What I need to do is have my notes somewhere that I can see them. So that I can follow the script, if not precisely, then, not to forget the important stuff that I should mention. So yeah, before you actually shoot anything, you need to sort of set up a game in a specific way to make it easier for yourself in the long run. So first things is that I usually try to disable all the sounds, because I find those pretty much distracting. So yeah, I disable the sound so that it's not distracting. Usually then on the post-processing part, it's better if you have the full control over the sounds. And so it's best, in my opinion, to have just the clean footage without any other sounds. And the only thing that is probably worth keeping is the voices. So if you try to make machinima kind of like I do, with the original Simlish voice track, you can leave that on. Otherwise, you might consider even muting that one too, because they can be pretty annoying with their, ebagana and stuff. Another thing I should notice is that I have created a couple of presets for my EA documents folder. So I have one specifically for machinima. So currently it's called, of course, The Sims 2. But normally, if I'm just playing regularly, it will say like The Sims 2 machinima. And the difference between them is, well, of course, in the mods that I have. So for instance, stuff like save game reminder would be pretty annoying when you're trying to shoot the very precise shot that you have tried to create for a couple of hours, and then this pop-up appears, which can be really annoying. So I have removed that for my machinima preset. Another thing is some particular camera settings, which are located in the cameras in here. The first person camera to be precise. And then my where is it? It's in config. Yeah, my user startup cheat is also a bit different. My user startup cheat for my machinima preset looks a bit different than for my regular gameplay. So for instance, I have bullprop testing cheats enabled by default. So this way, when I'm in the game, I can easily manipulate, all the stuff like that. If I need to switch their personalities, for instance, to be able to, for the sim to run, it appears only if you have a certain personality in terms of activity. And well, again, for the sake of machinima, it's much better to have control right away, while when I'm just playing the game, I usually tend to turn those off. Yeah, well, the camera settings. Yeah, how to make the camera smooth and not so fast. Yeah, we'll cover that in a second when we'll switch to the shots, when that actually have the camera movement. Then, as for some other settings, so, well, I have a couple of aliases set up. So, for instance, just to be able to control the time a bit easier, so I can just insert 1 AM to switch the time of the day. Then slow motion, something that I don't use during the regular gameplay, but now if I just put up my cheat bar, SM4 gives me slow motion of 4. Again, just something that it's a bit easier to insert. Then I have tried putting a couple of other cheats, like move objects on and step objects to grid false, but that for some reason did not work for me. In fact, if you put a line like move objects on, I believe that the rest of the cheats just stop working. Like the game just renders this line as, maybe like invalid, and so it does not load all the rest of the stuff that you have in here. That's the experience that I was getting. To negate that fact that we need to actually enter the cheats within the game itself, I have started using auto hotkey. So I believe I have teased that a bit in one of the chats. And so what auto hotkey does for you is you can create custom scripts that, well, let me just show you what it looks like. So edit the script. Well, it may be, it may look a bit intimidating, like, oh, some programming mumbo jumbo. But what it does for me is I have created custom shortcuts that, for instance, Alt-1 for me is just it toggles move objects on and off for me. So instead of just pressing Ctrl-Shift-C and entering move objects on like that, all I do is just I press Alt-1. And yeah, that's one of the tools that I have put in the list of links. So you'll be able to download the script itself and try and use it for your game, just if you find that useful. Then another example is Alt-2 for me is snap objects to grid false. Again, just real shortcut, and it toggles the cheat for me. Thing specifically for Machinima is I have created a list of cheats that I enter just right away as soon as I start my filming session. And that is, so when I press Control Alt and 9, what it does for me, let me actually show you what it does. So Control Alt 9, and you can see, well, the game started entering all those cheats just for me, The game of Premiere feels like a mini workshop in itself. Oh, yeah, you are so right. Yeah, because there is a lot, though, I mean, if you just boil it down to the basics, I believe there are like 2 lines that you need to know how they work and you are done. But, to achieve the exact result that you want, yeah, that can take you a while. And so yeah, what that Control Alt 9 does for me is it inserts, first of all, it enables move objects on so that I can freely move the sims. Yes, pretty self-explanatory. Snap objects to grid off, again, so that I can move them freely. So show headlines off, the one that removes all this stuff. Motive decay off, another thing, because it can be pretty annoying when you are running the overlay like interaction, and your sim just remembers that he hasn't peed in like a couple of hours, and they start doing that, nagging animation. So just to prevent that, I switch my motive decays off, and yeah, that's pretty much it for the default ones that I need to enter like every single time that I start my shooting session. But other than cheats, there are some must-have mods that I use all the time too, and that is the freeze clock. So with it, again, I always just freeze time. One of the first things that I do when I started. Usually like I enter the time that I need. So if I need to shoot it during the day, again, 7 a.m. for me, and freeze time to make sure that the day and the lighting doesn't change in the middle of a shot. Another thing that can be pretty annoying is the weather. So I force my weather to be clear sky if I need that, or to anything else that is needed to be in your scene. And another important thing is to limit all the, annoying visitors, either critters, NPCs, playables, and all that good stuff that you can get, just during the normal gameplay. Yeah, that is it for the prep. And having done all of that, we can actually now start and film the stuff. Yeah, so it was kind of, backtracking a bit. Yeah, reshade. The last thing that you need to be aware of is that by default, you can set up one of your presets that you have downloaded as the default one. And for me, that is the game one. So it's a bit less extreme. It doesn't come with, for instance, a depth of field for me, and some other unnecessary things like the chroma key. So that is turned off. And before I actually start and perform any interactions, I make sure that I switch to my cinematic reshade preset. And yeah, by the way, if you want to use the exact preset that I have created, I have put that in the links as well. So feel free to download those for sure. And now we are definitely prepared for shooting. Let's go back to that. So yeah, we've covered the really basic static shots that is borderline, static screenshot. And I mentioned that we could have just used that. And what this is called is the establishing shot. Its main purpose is just to ground your viewer and to introduce them to the set that you have going on, to the theme, so that it's easier for them to later understand like the entire story of the what's going on the screen. So the second shot that I have in here, just this piece, without going further. Yeah, I think it works like that. So yeah, another establishing shot, but this time, yeah, we have some camera movement going on. So after we had some static shots, so we have it like this. And when it comes to camera movement, I believe it's very much an artistic choice. I think like a good rule of thumb here would be to try and ask yourself a question like, what do you need the camera movement for? Because if you have a vague idea of why you need it, maybe just camera movement for the sake of camera movement, you probably don't need it. And you would be better off just using the static camera shot. And this one in particular is the diagonal movements. So let's go back in the game. So we tried to position the camera. It was somewhere around here, I believe. Oh, though I'm not sure where the chicken have gone. They have probably died of hunger. Oh, poor little things. So what I did, I just positioned the camera like so. I pressed my 12 and I pressed the W and A like that. Maybe it was a bit, you know, a bit further away. And what you want to do with your camera is try to be consistent and reserved. So if you realize that you do need a camera movement, it should be a very particular, you know, decisive movement of camera. When I first tried to do stuff like this, I wanted to be really creative with my camera movement, like doing panel like that, then switching my camera angle like so, and thinking that it was really creative and artsy. But the more you start watching, you know, the like the Hollywood movies and other stuff, you realize that they are very precise with their camera movements. And I believe that it's much better to have little or no camera movement whatsoever, rather than having a, well, bad camera movement. Can you make the camera like sideways? What do you mean? Ah, you mean like switch the screen itself? I don't think you can do that in the game, but it's pretty easily done once you have the footage in your timeline here. Oh yeah, that's actually one of the things that I should have pointed out too, by the way. Let me do, you know what? So I will show you what I have in here. So let's say that we have this static shot, right? And well, Machinima and movies in general are always basically static screenshots in time. So we always have to keep in mind the duration that we want the shot to be in. But the good thing about shooting is that you don't have to be very precise in the game. So, you know, you can make the camera roll for as long as you want, because later on you can always trim the video. And the way you do that is, let me just review this file in my project. So this is the shot that I have taken. Takes like around 11 seconds in total, but I have only taken, you know, a small portion like this. So once you insert the file into Premiere Pro, if you put it like that, it can be, you know, well, what you have shot in terms of length, and you can trim it either by moving these things, or you can use something like a razor cut tool. Well, that's what it's called in Premiere Pro. Other video editing tools have it as well. So once you've done that, if you find like like you need to, you know, switch the orientation or make something like a Dutch angle, you know, that's when the shot is slightly tilted, you can go into the effect controls, and in here we have the rotation. So we can do whatever we want with it. Woohoo! Just, you know, going all the way around the carousel. But yeah, sometimes, as you can see in here, I have, well, if I just had one shot, I would get these ugly, you know, black triangles, because, you know, the footage no longer covers the entirety of screen. And so sometimes when you do stuff like that, you also need to increase your scale. So, you know, just make it like so. Yeah, and now the camera is kind of tilted. So yeah, this is part of the magic that is done within the editing tool and not within the game. Now then, there was the question about the camera movement. So as you can see now, well, the camera is, well, pretty rapid, I would say. So I mean, it is smooth, but going pretty energetically. So if for some reason you wanted it to have to be more smooth and more slow, what you can do is you can pull up that first-person camera file that I have mentioned, and it's located in so in your documents folder, The Sims 2, cameras, or if you use the auto hotkey script that I've showed you previously, you can just press Ctrl-Shift-F, and the file is loaded for you like automatically. And basically you need to be aware of like two lines in here. One of them is orientation steps. So this parameter is responsible for how the camera behaves when you are moving it with your mouse. So movements like that. As you can see, right now it's sort of smooth. So I'm not moving my mouse that much, again, just a little one. But if I go back to this file and I switch the orientation steps to like, I don't know, 100, and I don't forget to save my parameter file, yeah, so the camera is reset. And if I go now within the tab mode, well, it may not be visible, you know, through the screen, but believe me, it's now feels a lot more sluggish. Like I'm really moving my mouse now, and well, like I need to make very long shot for it to move, and you know it has this some momentum to it as well. So yeah, for the movement with your mouse, you change the orientation steps. Let me just switch back to in here. Let me switch it back to 10. Like it's moving sideways. Oh well, that's because yeah, kind of slanted it a bit, and because of the momentum, it tends to make it tilted somewhat. But then if you're using the move, if you move your camera with the WASD or with the arrow keys, the parameter that is responsible for that is the translation steps. Well, not only this one, but this is the main one that you want to change if you want to, you know, adjust the camera movement like so. So currently I have it set up as 2. And so let's see once again what that looks like. So again, I'm just trying to, maybe let's go sideways. It's a bit clearer this way. So this is what the 2 looks like. But now if I switch it to, again, something like 20, and I save the parameter, I go back to where we were. Now the camera is really sluggish. Maybe 20 is an overkill. You normally don't need it that much, but you can adjust it by as many as you want. So yeah, basically two things: orientation steps and translation steps. Okay, so let me switch it back to 2. Oh, and another thing that is worth mentioning is that if you, let's say you create position camera control 4, for instance, and then you want to have like control 5. So the switch between them is also governed by these 2 lines. So the orientation steps and the translation steps. So by changing those, it would change the way that you know, the camera moves when you switch between the 2 positions here. Hopefully that answered your question, Countess. Please let me know if there's anything else I should cover in here. Moving on then. So we had the first establishing shot, then the second one. Then the third one is another establishing shot, but this time we introduce our characters. And again, just going back to the rule of thumb for me when asking yourself a question like, why do I need the camera movement? In this particular case, like I knew that I needed to introduce my characters, so that, you know, once you start viewing, you can see that, all right, so there's character 1. She is digging some stuff from the ground. I imagine she is trying to dig up, you know, the potatoes, because that's what I imagine they are trying to do. They harvest the potatoes that are currently in the ground. So we have character number 1, and again, I tried to position her, you know, following the rule of thirds, like so, and you can see, yeah, she's exactly at the 3rd position here. But then I also needed to show somehow that I have a second character. And so in this case, it would probably be best to have some sort of a, you know, a camera movement. You can try to, you know, break down your viewer's attention into smaller chunks. Because if I had 2 characters right away within the same shot, well, sometimes you may be a bit confused as to where to look at. This way, I'm kind of trying to manipulate you into looking specifically into one spot and then moving on to some other. Yeah, in this case, it's just the same thing. So I was using the same diagonal movement, just as I was here. So it was W and A for me. Then I just switched the, you know, kind of like the bird eye view, and I did it once again, W and A. Do I have the good skills for editing video? Well, it's not as hard as you might think. So the basic stuff can definitely be done, you know, just with some basic inserting the video and trimming them down. That's really the basic that you can get with it. So that is what I did, for instance, in, you know, for the first 20 seconds. Yeah, that's all the editing that I've done. I've just shot it and I've placed it on the timeline and, you know, trimmed the in and out point. So like where where the footage starts and where the footage ends. That's it. Like no other editing done whatsoever. I mean, later on, yeah, we'll get to some advanced stuff. But for now, again, stuff like this, I believe, can be created. If you know how to create static screenshots, this is within your reach as well. Now, as for the characters, so in this particular case, I have not even used, I mean, in this shot, I have not even used any animation box because I have just commanded this girl to be digging for stuff using the in-game interactions, like so. Dig for treasure. You can do a lot of interactions, even with what you get, you know, just in the vanilla game. If we move to shot number 4, This time we back again have some static screenshot, and let me see. I believe I have put some very important note to that. Yeah, so as you can see, she has stopped doing her dig interaction, and after that she put her hand or rather her arm on her hip. So these are like two interactions stacked on top of each other. Do you use any pose or animation boxes? Yeah, of course I do. In fact, if we go and look in here, this is, well, probably like the entirety of what I use for this 1 minute clip. But I have browsed through many more, just to be able to find the particular ones that I wanted to. And yeah, I tried to break them down, a bit into like separate sections, but by the end I really got tired of that. I was like, screw it. So in this particular case, once she stopped doing the dig for stuff interaction, I told her to use the talk hack, and it was listen negative, annoyed, arm on hips. Let's see what it looks like. So let me move her a bit closer. So listen negative. Where was it? Annoyed. Oh wait, it's talk hack, not talk sitting, but this one, yeah. The painting with the lady. So listen negative, which is this one, and wait, annoyed, arms on hips. Yeah, so that is the interaction that she was doing. But in this particular case, I believe the interaction itself already comes with her looking kind of to the side, which aligns with where the dude was located. So if we take a look at the shot, so she's located here and he's sitting way over there, and so when she does that, she's kind of already looking into to his side. No other mod used to make it happen like that. Oh yeah, if we just go one step back, so in here the dude is sitting on the hay stack there and just chilling, and that is me using the this hack, custom modeling pose hack, and I have used sit 3 animation, yeah, which makes him sit like that. And of course, if we just make him sit like that once again, you'll notice that male sit 3. Yeah, if we try to position him, well, he's kind of cutting through the haystack, so there's some omsp going on as well, of course. As for the fourth shot with her talking like that, I have covered that. Yeah, this one now. You may be familiar with the 180 degrees rule. Do you know what that stands for? Please let me know. The baskets of fruit didn't need to be there, but it adds so much, huh? Yeah, well, that's what I try. That's kind of, as they say, show don't tell. So, without any dialogues of needing a sim saying that they are, digging for the potatoes, by having the potatoes in the shot, I kind of convey that information to you. So yeah, set design is super, super important. But if you take a look at this set that I have, I kind of tried to be efficiently lazy. So I knew that I would be shooting only, this portion, and so this one is pretty much left blank. You see nothing in here. This corner in here is just, used for all the hack boxes and stuff, and you really don't need to spend, a lot of hours trying to be as detailed as you can. Like, I knew that I would be making some sort of, pen shot with this corner, so that's where I put some stuff, for the hell of it. But for the rest, even, the neighborhood design. So if we just go, let's do that real quick. If we go into the neighborhood view, you'll be able to see that I have no decorations whatsoever surrounding the lot itself. In fact, before I started shooting this Machinima bit, the entire hood was just this, even without the trees. And only then, when I realized that I would be shooting this particular corner, I added all these things, so that it looks as if it's a rural area. So yeah, you can never be too lazy when it comes to designing your sets. Try to see where you can cut the corners, if that's make it easier for you to shoot, and put your effort where it needs to be put. Since I've reloaded the shot, I will once again press Ctrl-Alt-9 to re-enter all those cheats. Alright, cool. And I will also freeze time once again, like so. Let's move on to the next shot. Yeah, 180 rule. So usually when you're filming two characters, especially like if it's dialogue, you should try and do your best to keep them in the same position. So in this case, like we have the girl to the right and the boy to the left. And so you should be keeping that relation between them all throughout their interaction. So if you try and switch the shots, in the middle of the interaction, that can be really confusing to your viewers. And so that's why this particular shot was, I tried, to maintain that relation between them. But another rule that you may not be familiar with, because 180 is pretty much the rule that you can hear all the time when it comes to filming. The rule is called the rules of 30% or 30 degrees. So whenever you're switching shots that are similar in their relations, you should be switching the angle by at least 30%. So what it means is that if I was shooting them like so, just trying to make the wide shot with them in full size, the next shot, it could have been like this one, but this time I'm not switching the angle whatsoever. And so it would feel like I was just zooming in on the picture. So, and if you put the shots like that together, they normally don't look that good. So instead, you should try and switch the shot by at least 30 degrees angle. So that's why the next shot we have here is kind of over her shoulder. Well, I'm not sure if this is 30%, but well, the more the difference between the angles, it is better looking for the viewer. Yeah, so in this particular case, the dude is still performing the same interaction. And then the girl is just continuing her annoyed arm and hip stuff. So yeah, not much going on here. Then the second one is him starting to yawn. So this is where we can sort of start to get the plot that, they two are working, but one of them is really hardworking, and the dude is just chilling there. And if we check their names, that's actually what I called them. This is the lazy potato, and this is the hardworking potato, or patata. Let me see, what have I used for the dude here? Yeah, he was just using the custom modeling hack to be sitting like that, and I put him on the omsp so that it looks as if he's sitting on the haystack. But so we have two variations of this box, right? We have the one that is not overlay, and then we have the pink one, so this one, right? So the difference between them, that's like what Jason mentioned before, that the difference between overlay and not overlay. So if I tried now to use the overlay box on him, let's see what happens. Wait, it was it this one? Just action.
The one that isn't pink is the one that is just the loop, not the overlay. The pink one is the overlay.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to show what would happen if, in this particular case, when you have the custom model and pose box, which I believe has low or maybe high priority. If you try to use like any overlay in here, this is gonna blend in with the pose itself. So let's see. This one is what? Everyone front. So yeah, see, he had just moved and he has messed up the position that I have put him in. So to prevent that from happening, we can use just the regular pose box, right? But let me just reset him real quick. So force error reset, and I will put him once again in the sitting position. So I can tell him to do talk everyone front using the regular painting, right? But the downside of it is that the interaction is played only once. And I believe he's already done that, right? Maybe let's take something a bit longer. So maybe let's do action and maybe, brush hair. Well, he has done that, but since his arms and legs are locked in place, he is not using them, and it's just his face that is changing. Maybe if I did the again use side, you'll be able to see that his face is changing, but it's played only once. And in here, I needed him to perform that stuff like in a loop, so kind of the way that it works with the overlay box. But I couldn't use that because it would blend in with the pose. So the way around that is you can start the animation here, like, I don't know, arms crossed annoyed. And once the interaction is, well, already playing, you can use the Macrotastics mode in here. So you can have the repeat current action mode like that. And this now works in a loop, but you know, without the blend-in stuff like with the overlay. And you know what? Let me switch off the voices so that they are not in the way. Let me know if that was clear, or if I should maybe clarify that a bit more, like when that can be useful and when not.
Macrotastics think that's a separate mod or a separate object.
Yeah, that's a separate mod. I believe it's on the Inseminator website. That's where I took it from. So it's the one that you know, adds this menu where you can do all sorts of stuff, you know, automatically, and it adds this box that allows you to do, well, just the same thing. Kind of automates a lot of things for you. But you kind of need to unpause the game. So let's just cancel those once again. If I like give him an interaction, I will not have that you know, option to repeat the current action. What I need to do is unpause the game, and only then I get this option here. So that's like one important thing for you to notice if you try to do this yourself. So basically, if the interaction that you want to do doesn't come with a loop, and it just plays once, you can work around that by using Macrotastics. That's like the bottom line of it. And that's what I have used in this case for him to be sitting like that, chilling and yawning without stop. Because again, if we take a look at the you know, the clip itself, you can see that it's a bit longer than what I have put in here. So he starts yawning. His arm is clipping in here, which is not something I like, but that's not much of a problem because I can always start the interaction, you know, from this point where it's okay already. So I just use this one, starting from this point up to this point, you know. So from basically from clipping to clipping. And yeah, you can achieve this result. So this is the shot, right? This is what it would look like once you've placed it from your file explorer. And you could have done that, you know, just simply by dragging it to the point that you want it to and adjusting it like that. Or the more advanced, I believe more precise way is just to double click it and set up the in and out positions. At least that's how it works in Premiere Pro. I believe it can work the same way in other apps as well. Moving on to the to other shots. So he has yawned. Yeah, this is now where we get the leap in complexity. Because as you see, like the camera is not moving. If we take a look at the final footage, it looks as if, you know, it's just one continuous movement. But on the timeline, you can see that it's several of them. So one of them is just regular one like that. And this one was, it was Shout Cup. Yeah, so a part of, let me just check which one it is. Once again, revealing project. Yeah, the interaction where she tries to yell in, you know, in her hand, yeah, like that. Then she makes this angry stance, and then she just stands idly. So this neutral position that we have in the end is your best friend, because pretty much every interaction kind of defaults to it. Like it starts with the neutral position and then it ends with the neutral position, and that's how you can queue several interactions together. In the final footage, it appears as if it's, you know, one interaction performed after another, and in the game it was shot like I have told her to do all the interactions. Well, the first one I have shot it, then I have switched over here, maybe like reset her position, set her in different way, and told her to start moving somewhere else. Place her in here. Where is she? I think I have lost her. Oh, yeah, I remember this is one of the things that we have mentioned during the previous workshop that Rachel hosted, right? That sometimes the green frame remains in place, but you cannot move the Sims. So that happens in my game quite often. So I usually just force error on them, and then it's fine. Yeah, see, she just moved there, so it kind of the game saw that her position should be somewhere in here. Yeah, she was performing the animation, the talk, the shout cup thing. Then I told her to go, you know, kind of like that. So she stopped at some place. Oh wait, no. First, she placed the shovel. All right, let's move there. So you can see that this portion of the timeline is in green, and this is called a nested sequence. If you have worked in Photoshop, you know that you can you can place several layers into one folder. So nesting a sequence is basically like an equivalent of that. So if I just double click on it, we'll be able to see like each particular piece of footage that I have placed in here. So the first one is she is just squatting down, and yeah, she is holding the shovel, and that is Jason's mod, which is Hardness of Toil. So if you were wondering how she is holding the shovel, yeah, that's this mod at work. And so this first shot is, I have added the shovel, and I have, so this squatting thing here is when you kind of need to be creative with the interaction that you have. So do you have any suggestions what these interactions can be? Like, the hint is that it comes from the original game, so vanilla game, so it's not a custom animation. So do you recognize this particular motion? Picking up something close, but nope. I was trying...
Was it the newspaper?
Not newspaper, though I did try and search for that interaction, yeah, like that. So first thing that I tried to do is search for pick. And that's how I would try and search for it. Like I would see if that one, well, that's pick nose. No, definitely not that one. So maybe then if I switch it like that, I can see the entire title of the animation. So maybe it's just, what? Tip jar pickup full. This one. Well, it could probably work actually this way. But no, somehow I stumbled upon, let me see, it was season box. And it was fixing the sprinkler. Let's see where it is. Yeah, garden repair sprinkler. Yeah, this one. Well, in this case, it's very quick, but if you add some slow motion, it kind of looks as if she's just trying to to place the shovel. Like, yeah, I've cut all the unnecessary stuff. So instead, I just use the JD's. Oh, no, where is the game? So the JD's season box in here. So that's where footage number 1 ends. She has put the shovel. Then what she is doing now, it's the same sprinkler stuff, so the same garden sprinkler fix interaction, but it's put in reverse. So if I reveal this project in as just a regular footage, let me just, where is it? Revealing project. It's this one. So this is how it looked by default. Again, she was just trying to fix it. And yeah, it's just the end of the animation. So that's like this half part here. But as you can see, the shovel remains in place. Well, that's because I have tried and replaced the shovel as an accessory with the shovel that comes as a separate object in here. So it's, I believe, where is it? This one. And to for it to look as if it's standing on the floor, oh, I think I can cancel that, or maybe delete. Oh, no. Like so. Go away. Yeah. I used these omsps. So let's see. So one of them was shovel 90 left. So I believe it's the blue one. Yes, this one left. First I put the shovel on this omsp. Then I have used, I think I have put them in here. I have realized that the shovel was not positioned correctly. So I believe I used the 180 omsp like that to put it maybe, yeah, like so. Because if I don't put it on 180, it's, well, faces wrong direction. But then, to be very precise, I had to use another hack, which is the rotator. I believe it's in here. Yeah, this rotator made by Anoeska. So when you place omsp on it and you press M, you can rotate the object by really small increments. And so I did my best to position this, second kind of, fully shovel as close as I could in here. And well, when you run the footage one by one, you can see the transition, right? When it's sped up, you kind of skim over it. All right, so yeah, that was the second part, right? And this is another application of the static screenshots, by the way. So as you can see, I have the pink footage here. So in fact, well, what she was performing is doing the stuff, but without the shovel. So in this case, she is just standing up. And what I had to do is, so when she placed it, when I positioned the shovel, I would just go like this and take the screenshot rather than just recording the interaction playing out. Then I would go into my Photoshop. Let me just review that in project. And I would create this, you know, transparent PNG thing. And then when you put it on top, it looks as if it's, you know, it stays there, while in fact it's actually like a separate shovel that's just hanging in the air. So that's what I call the video editing magic. Then another interaction, again, when I was just switching over, is her kind of going to this side a bit. And the final thing is she's trying to pick up something. And this one, I believe, is, let me see which one this was. Oh, this one comes from the Bon Voyage anim box. Let me check that, what it looks like. Oh yeah, the pets box. No, sorry. So because this one also has the stuff from the Castaway stories things, and one of them is idle pickup. So that's what she was using, you know, to try and get the it says passion fruit, but I imagine that it's potato. I know nothing. This is potatoes for me. Now the 4 or rather 5 shots that I had to put together to make this one continuous motion of her putting the shovel and going here to pick up the potato. Oh, and by the way, do you know why she is putting the shovel down on the ground in the first place? That's because I'm no motor at all, and the shovel doesn't come with the variation when it is in the left hand. And all the subsequent animations when she's trying to throw the potato, I needed my right hand free for that. So this is kind of like, you know, the troubleshooting or, you know, the challenging stuff that you deal with all the time when you're shooting Machinima. You need to think out of the box how you can resolve the situation. So I guess if you are an experienced modder, you could have just, you know, tried to modify the box itself and make the shovel appear in the left hand, and, you know, maybe make her appear, look as if she is just, you know, switching the hands, and, you know, she's putting the shovel into her left hand.
If it were me, I would just create a new accessory.
Or, yeah.
And then you can, the overlays for holding it, you can edit the behave so that it mirrors it.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, if she's gripping the shovel in her right hand, you can just, there's a checkbox inside the behave you can flip, and it mirrors it for the left hand.
Mm-hmm. So yeah,
but that's me. I mean, it might be a solution if you're an experienced modder. If you're not as familiar with content, then you would just have to think creatively.
Another thing that you might also have done, just to go even overboard, is try to mirror the footage itself. So if you have shot the girl maybe like on green screen, and then you flipped her horizontally, like maybe the outfit would give her away, you know, because this in this particular case, like, it's not symmetrical. You have some, you know, different scratches on different sides, so that could be like I'll give it away. But yeah, just the bottom line is that you have several solutions to one problem that you, well, in this particular case, I've created for myself because I wanted her to throw some potatoes later on, and halfway through filming this, I was like, oh shoot, I need my right hand free. So I guess I'll need to make her put the shovel on the ground. And that kind of created, you know, this pretty cool educational moment, I believe, you know, how you can use the static images. But yeah, so that is it for putting the shovel and going in here. An important thing of how you want to cut your shots for the animation to look, you know, smooth. If we check the final footage here, right? Let me just review it in project. You'll be able to see that I have shot a lot more than you can see. So she has performed the interaction just maybe, no, 2 times, right? And I deliberately chose this portion in here because that's like called cutting on action. For the transition to be as smooth as possible, you kind of need to, you know, the movement start halfway in the first shot, and the second shot is the same, the exact same movement, but, you know, it's its other half portion, the later one. I could have just as well, you know, ended the footage here when she's already, you know, like, trying to pick up the potato, but then it would have looked odd. Let's see how that looks actually. So we can do that. Maybe it looks better. Oh wait, huh? Maybe that was not the best shot that I have placed. So. But oh yeah, in this case, if you try and go shot by shot, you can see that she's kind of picking up it twice, right? She picks it up once, and then she's, you know, like, extends her fingers once again. So yeah, you need to be kind of precise with where you cut your shots, and the best way is to split the motion like in half, and put the first half of the motion in the first footage, and then the last half in the second one. Then, if we go to this portion, when she is picking up the the potato, in the final one, it looks as if she's this is the potato that she has picked up, but this is another video editing magic that is at work here. So the first portion of the movement is she is just kneeling and just grabbing the air. In fact, so if we review this in project once again, so this is what the thing looked like. So she simply picked up air. Then, and I was filming this at the fixed angle, by the way. So by positioning it where I wanted it, and just using the Control-4, Control-5 to be consistent. So I cut it right and where she is kind of like close to the potato itself. Then what I did is I put this potato in her hand, because with the majority of objects in the game, you can actually let me just cancel the interaction here and maybe remove the shovel so that we get how I was shooting that. So it's what is it? Farmer, right hand, and it's spade shoveling. Her hand is free. So you can place a lot of objects just in her hand like that. So if you move it close, well, it kind of snaps into the accessory slot, right? Sometimes it's weird looking like that. Sometimes it's pretty much okay if it's maybe like a round shaped object. But if we try and unpause the game right now, with no interactions in the queue, the objects disappear like that. Well, the way around that is if we first try and tell her to do some sort of interaction. So in this particular case, I told her to do just the same interaction. So I remembered which one this was, which is idle pickup. So she picked it up once, without just the air. And then I told her to do the same interaction the second time. So CA objects, where is it? Idle pickup. And now when she has some sort of interaction in her queue, as I understand, like the game constantly is checking if the interaction is going on, and if it is going on, then it does not reset, the accessory slots. Now we can put any object in her hand. Well, in our case, it was potato, and it will be stuck there until the interaction is, playing. So yeah, it's still in her hand. She is doing that. So that is this second portion here, where she is when she picks it up.
So as long as you have an animation, it stays.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
And, not every object can be placed in the hand, though. I believe some, like, I don't think you can put a chair in someone's hand, right? I think it just doesn't snap, in the accessory slots. But yeah,
it would have to be an object that you can place into, like a coffee table slot or a deco slot.
Oh,
like a chair isn't going to happen. You can't put a refrigerator in a Sim's hand slot.
I believe there is this mod, which is Chris Hatch's object something. Let me see. What's its name? It's Charles Objects Editor. Yeah. So I believe with it you can do all sorts of interesting things with objects. So you can like set flags directly in the game, and I believe you can, instead of trying to position the any object like that in her hand, maybe her left hand. You can do that using this box in here. So if we just, just for the sake of experiment, let's try and see if we can actually put the chair into her hand. So we need to select an object. It's in world, and it's gonna be this chair. Oh, I mean, it lists all of the objects in here. What is it called, by the way? Do you know? This chair in particular, it's Jules Visitor's Chair. So that's how we can find it. Select object, once again in world. Let's see, Jules, EF, so Jules Visitor's Chair. Yeah, now it's chosen, and we can do all sorts of crazy stuff to it. We can, like, switch As I understand, this is would be like similar to what you can do with it in SimP. So I believe there is this behavior stat, and we can snap an object into slot. Something. Oh wait, no. For that I need to select a person. So select person, hardworking. I select her. Now behavior stat. I believe snap an object into slot. So in here I can. Oh well, I already placed a couple of objects in here, so I will need to, remove that. Let's see. So behavior states snap object into slot, right hand, inward. Let's see, will she be able to hold the chair in her hand? If she does, that would be pretty cool. Oh yeah, dude, it works. I mean, it works in a very weird way, but it kind of works. Oh, cool. I haven't tested this before. So yeah, so I imagine that with this thing, you can make it looks as if she's maybe swinging her chair, and later on she's like, I don't know, throwing it in her window. Cool. And yeah, and now if I stop the interaction, by the way, you see it reset. If you want to use the stuff that is not normally placed in the accessory slots, use this box in here. Alrighty, so moving on to the timeline here. Where were we? So we were taking a look at, where she is picking it up. So this is the second portion where she is just standing up. Then in here, again, it is the position where it is stuck to her hand. And this one is, I remember that interaction, that's talk hack, topics, and baseballs. Wait, no, it's not baseball, it's throw ball. My bad. So, topics, throw ball. Like so. Yeah. And yeah, see, right now she is swinging her left hand as if, the potato is in its hand, while in my case it was with the right hand. So that's just something that the game does. It randomly mirrors the animation. I believe just, that's not so repetitive for when you're playing the game. But it's something that you need to keep in mind when you are trying to, get just the right expression. Well, if I knew that she would mirror the animation, I would probably not bother myself with, putting the shovel and doing all that crazy stuff. But well, that's one of the things that you can do sometimes. Yeah, I think it's more realistic that if she was, throwing that with her right hand. Oh, and yeah, by the way, if you try and use the overlay stuff, the overlay hack. So once again, let's do the throw ball start. So, the one where she is looping. Right now she's using her right hand, and she will loop that without mirroring the interaction. So when you are using these talk hacks, some other in-game interactions, keep in mind that they can sometimes mirror it. Like, it's not, you're not crazy, it's just that the game can change the interaction for you, to avoid repetitiveness. So you need to sometimes reset the interaction and start it over again. So yeah, in this case, again, the potato was stuck to her hand, and she was performing the throw ball interaction. And I cut it exactly at the point where I imagine the potato would leave her hand, right? So you can see it. This little portion is her no longer having the potato in here. I think I could have added it in here, but I imagine that's, where the potato just flew off the screen. Then, this portion in here. So the dude is sitting, just chilling. This is like, by the way, where we have some camera motion going on. And the dude is trying to look into the camera, and the potato is flying right into his face. As you can see already, I have two layers going on. So one of them is just the potato itself. So it looks like this, in the void, spinning, and that's something that you can do with the effects control in here. But I don't think we need to go in deep there. Just note that with all the images, you can do all sorts of crazy stuff, and you can animate them as well. So yeah, I have some animation going on. I will not go in deep because I think that's not something that's going to be that interesting. And then the other half portion is just him sitting and our camera moving onto him, like so. And the way that it was shot, again, so he was sitting using the same technique over there. But if you remember from before, so before he was kind of moving his head. So he was kind of moving his head around, right? That's something that just custom model in Pose comes with. But in this, in the later shot, he is looking directly to the camera. And that is another handy mod that at work, which is the Pick and Mix's Sim Turner. So yeah, it's this little ball that you can use to position where your sims are looking at. So it comes with a couple of options. So if you click on it, you can make the sims look at either the object itself. So let me show you how it works now. Let's say that she is standing over there. Let me reset her real quick. So force error, reset. And yeah, if I tell her to look at the sim turner, she will turn her head there. And by default, she will do so for about 3 seconds, but I also created a little tweak that prolongs this interaction for a bit longer. Oh, that's, by the way, another difference between my Machinima preset in here and my regular, Uber downloads folder. So in my regular gameplay, I don't have that mod that I created because it makes the sim be stalkers and looking into each other for quite some time, for 30 seconds. But when you shoot a Machinima, that's exactly what you want to be doing. So the longer they can look at the direction that you tell them to, the easier it is for you to shoot. So that's one option. You can tell her to look at the object, or we can tell her to look at another sim. So look at sim, and she can look at the lazy dude. So yeah, right now she is looking into his direction and will be doing so for about 30 seconds. And if you tell her to perform any sort of interactions, so she will still be looking in the direction that you told her. It's a real time saver when it comes to just position your sims correctly. And the third option is that you can tell the sim to look in your camera. So if I position the camera in here, she should turn there and yeah, just move and be creepily looking into our soul. Like, what do you want from us? Yeah, sometimes when you get too close, like the game resets. Yeah, let's tell her once again to look in the camera. You want to keep some distance. And if the angle is too steep for her, like she will reset like that. So yeah, that's one of the mods that you can use to make the sim look in a certain direction. And that's what I have used for this dude. So when he was sitting like that, and he was yawning, I just told him to look in the camera, and then I was following him, just, with the regular push in motion. Look at camera, by the way, another one. I believe its official name is Fourth Wall Options. It's available at Mod The Sims. The issue with it is that it does not use the same behavior constant as the mod by Pick and Mix. So yeah, I have that one as well. So I have this look at player. And you'll see that she will stop doing that for maybe like, I don't know, 5 seconds. So I still keep both because sometimes you want just, for a quick glance. And it's a bit more convenient because you don't need to place any other objects. You don't need to go to your catalog. You just have this option here available when you click on the sim. So yeah, for this variety, I believe it's worth keeping both of these mods in your downloads folder. Yeah, and in this case, so I believe I changed the camera parameter a bit more. Oh, no, that's not what I have done. So if we take a look at the original footage, let me just review it in project. You will notice that it's, well, I believe it takes 7 seconds. See, the movement itself is quite slow because I believe like the translation steps I had maybe like 3 or 4, and the final footage that I have is a bit snappier. So that is something that you can do again within Premiere Pro or any other video editing tool. So in Premiere Pro, it's called speed duration, and you can tell how, like if you want to speed it up. So in this case, I have sped up the footage like 4 times. Just have it entered 400% in here. If I have entered like 40%, this would do the opposite. So it would prolong the animation a lot more. So it's really smooth. And that's something that you can do like maybe like a slow motion thing, if that's something that you want to do. Or what I suggest you do is you always film your interactions with some sort of a slow motion. So I usually do that with slow motion, I believe 5 or at least 4. So this way, the interactions they perform are a lot, slower and smoother, but you can always speed it up later on, when you're editing the stuff. And this way, it's easier for you to capture the specific interaction that you want to have. And sometimes when you're trying to, synchronize different characters in the shot, we'll get to that a bit later to the end, where we have, several like split shots. You'll see where it comes in very handy. But yeah, like you always want to have as much control as you can, and by shooting first in slow motion and then speeding it up in Premiere Pro, you get that control. So let me reverse it back to 400%. So that was him receiving a potato into his face. So in this case, I believe I have used some other thing. Let me see what that was. So full potato, get hit. Oh yeah, this one is this one comes from water balloon animation. You're very close, but it's plain catch from Seasons. Yeah, you were very close. So yeah, it's the Seasons animation box, and I believe you could have also used the snowball interaction. Let's see how that would have looked. So if we go into Seasons, snowball fight, there is get hit, but the issue is that you see you get these snow particles as well, and so that's not something that you may want to have that often. But if we use the catch, get hit hard, catch hard drop, yeah, that's the one that I've used. Oof, like that. Yeah, this one doesn't come with any particles. It's great when you know several variations of what you can use, because in some cases snowball is better, in some so the catch is much better. I believe I have used the snowball dodge, one of the dodges, for my Die Donnie when he was trying to evade the glass that Cassandra has thrown at him. So yeah, sometimes you need to combine those as well. So yeah, again, nothing much going on here. Static shot and just a portion of this animation there. Oh yeah, in this case, you can see that this initial portion is at 100% speed, and then for the last part, I decided to slow down a bit because I wanted to have this end part for a bit longer. So yeah, you can always do that like that. So I believe initially it was, let me see. So this way, if we put this one at 100, yeah, it was just one footage like so, single clip. But then I have used the clip tool here. I have split them in two, and I slowed down the other one by 20%, like so. And this way I get just a little portion at the end, a bit slower. So yeah, you can play with speeds as much as you can here. Then for the other shot, we have another throw ball animation, just from a different angle, because I really liked her, face in here. I believe some interactions and some expressions are just priceless. So yeah, that's what we get. Then in here, I'm not sure why this portion here is nested, but well, it is. So in this particular case oh yeah, that's because we have two interactions going on, I believe. Can you guess which one this is? Let me maybe show you the full version. So reveal in project, this one. Yeah, it's a bit like so. Can you recognize it? Fire, yeah, exactly. But if you take just the initial part, it looks as if he is, trying to find how he can defend himself from the next, flying potato towards him. And yeah, I to emphasize that it's the shovel that he's looking for. I added this little zoom, and that's why I put it in the nested sequence. Then the next shot is the continuation of this one. So in fact, this was the same clip, by the way. Yeah, so initially it was like this, like we had one by one, but then I really wanted to split the footage in half with this little animation, like sequence with him. So she has thrown it. Again, cutting on action. So I have half the motion in the first portion and half the motion in the second portion. And we can see, in the background there that the dude already holds the shovel in his hand. So, well, before his hand was free, and in that shot I have once again used the Harness of Toil box in here, just to add the accessory to his hand. Oh, wait, no, there's one important thing that I need to mention here as well. So, as you can see before, we pretty much had these clips in just single layer, right? Like, in some rare cases we would put 2 of them. This is where I'd like to introduce the concept of working with footages, just like you would work with Photoshop layers and putting them on top of each other. So if we play the final footage, it looks, very as if it was shot maybe synchronously in the game. But one of the hardest things that you can do within the game itself is trying to make your sims perform the same interaction as you want them. And the more sims you have, the harder it becomes, up to the point that when you have 3 or 4 sims, it's impossible for them to, do everything in queue, exactly as you want them to do. Luckily, we have our video editing to help us with that. In this particular case, there are 2 clips being played at the same time. So one of them is just this little portion of him standing there and performing the animation just as I wanted to. Yes, and the bottom one is our, the foreground girl in here. If we play it without the upper one, you see that, he's just standing there, doing nothing. But once we enable it, well, everything is now in sync. And this is probably one of the most important techniques that I have come up with, because it has so much application, like all over the place. I don't know, I think I need to give a couple of more examples for you to for it to sink in how important this is. I think I will need to reference my other work, which is the Die Donny. Just a second, let me quickly pull that up. Oh yeah. So this is what the project for this portion looked like. So one portion, yeah, we are very close. So this interjection with the dude, this close-up in here. See, this is where I'm stacking a couple of interactions, just like I showed you, with our potato in here. When she's performing one interaction, then she's performing the next one. No, one after another in this case. So it's put down, pick up, stand there, and then lean down. In this case, it was kind of the same. So it was one interaction, one clip when he is just, being very surprised. The game is, the program is a bit laggy on me, which is unfortunate. So he's surprised. Then he is looking in at us, just confused. Then the other one is him doing something else. So all of these are separate clips. And kind of the thing that I put myself in corner is that can you see the clouds moving in the background? So if you put these clips all just one by one after another, you will be able to see where, let me see, which one is Mortimer speaking, which one is him not. The clouds are moving in the background. These clouds are actually a separate clip that I have put on top to make it sure as if, this shot is just one continuous motion. While in fact, it was shot in multiple steps. Another thing, so closer to the end where we have the girls, yeah, in here. So as you can see, the girls are trying to, performing this move when they are slowly moving together. Technically, I could have make them play for a long time and just wait for them to synchronize like that, but it would not be possible. So instead, I just have one half is just Lilith and the other half is Angela. Yeah, this half and this half. And yeah, let me know if you have, by the way, any questions as to the stuff that I have showed before that. Maybe something is not clear or I need to show something once again. Because I realized that some of the stuff can be pretty confusing, especially if you haven't dealt with, the editing, the keyboarding stuff, the key shortcuts, and the keyframes in here.
The masking that you're doing for these composites, that's done in the Premiere Pro, right?
Yeah, exactly. So one of the things that you have is called its opacity, and you can do that with these tools in here. So let's just, if you take this shot, there are 3 options you can do that. You can just insert a circular mask, like so. You can move it and you can change the position. Or you can do the rectangular one. Again, just kind of the same way. Or you can kind of freehand it using the pen tool. Sometimes Premiere Pro doesn't like me putting the masks. This is one of the like interactions that sometimes freezes it for me. Not sure why, but if that happens to you, don't worry, just you can save the project. Normally you can save that and you need to restart the Premiere Pro. But yeah, you did in Premiere Pro. And yeah, for you to be able to run it like this, you know, the game simultaneously with Premiere Pro, you do need, you know, well, quite a beefy PC. But you know, sometimes it is okay. Sometimes I mask and I experience no problems at all. Oh, I think I have forgotten to put the potato. It would have been anything to add as well. Well, all right. So then, this case, just like before, we had it running, like flying into his head. We have it similar, but this time we are also adding, you know, a little zoom out. So it starts big in the beginning, and then it becomes smaller, smaller, and smaller. And at this point, we insert a different clip. You know, this splodge of, you know, visual effects, just to emphasize that he has destroyed the potato. And this clip is, if we again review it in project, it's a green screen special effect that I have downloaded from YouTube. I believe I have found it by searching for something like explosion burst, something like that. And one of those was like a blood squirt, that's what I called it. And I thought that it looked kind of like, you know, just potato being shattered to pieces. So I have put it there and changed the color a bit to make it appear as if, you know, it's the flesh being shot. Next, we have this really dramatic, you know, close-up of her looking very angrily. And nothing going on here, just again some interaction that I found within the talk hack, I believe. And then I made this zoom on her eyes. Then him interacting to that angry look, just being very skeptical. And after that, we get another camera movement sequence where she's running towards him. Ooh, like so. And this was shot just using the camera movement with the mouse. So remember I mentioned that you can do like, you can move the camera with WASD or you can do that with your mouse. In this particular case, the camera was stuck somewhere in here, I believe. And I was just moving in a very straight line. But normally, you can't really make a smooth motion with your mouth. Even if you try really hard, you know, you jerk your hand a bit, it's not that continuous. And so to negate that fact, you can use the camera positions. So I have placed, I believe, like one Control 4 in here, and just moving just my mouse, not without the WASD, I have placed like Control 5 in here. And so then I will just move in between these two shots. So this way I get very smooth, continuous motion. And of course, I have also tweaked a bit the orientation steps to make it smoother. Maybe it was something like 100? I'm not sure exactly. Let me see. Yep, it was probably 100. So orientation steps, save. All right. And so now if we go, yeah, you see, the transition is a lot smoother. So yeah, you kind of need to experiment with the particular values that you want to put. And I don't remember which one I used for this particular scene in here. And yeah, she was running actually without any additional hacks or mods. I just made her run by you know, clicking on the ground and telling her to run here, while holding the shovel using the JSON's mod. Then this portion here, this is where, you know, the custom hacks come in place. This particular one, let me check. Which one was it? Jump with the goat was, oh, get famous pirates and swords. Let me go real quick here. In here, and I believe I have that. So another great box that was created by flower something, and then converted by the only exception. And yeah, it's this one. So pirate swords success laser Y. The jump itself is this interaction from this box. So I shot it from this angle, and once again we have the split, you know, the compositing motion going on. So the dude was not present here, and this is where the, what I call the green screen magic comes into play. Sometimes it's very handy, you know, to just film your characters against a plain background that is really easy to cut out later on. So in this case, it's green screen. So if we go into the project, so see that by default, it was like so. Yeah. So this is what I had. And then by adding the emotion, the effect that is called Ultra Key, we can remove just the green stuff. And so we are left with this clip, you know, with just him kind of in the void. And then we fill in the background with our footage in here. So I think that from now on, I will be using the compositing technique like all over the place. So this way you can make really like mass shots with, I don't know, like up to maybe even 10 sims without any problem. You just need to be very careful with where you place them. And normally for it to look good, you want to make it so that you know, the objects do not intersect each other. So in this case, like really, I can just make the division line somewhere in here. So yeah, she is flying into the sky, trying to, you know, make this lunge attack from above. And this is where I wanted, you know, yeah, to do the reference to the metrics, where, you know, the camera is the game is on pause and I'm just moving the camera like so. Metrics shovel, yes it is. So I believe, yeah, this was like position 1 camera position, this one second camera position. And then as I started the game running once again, I have used the Q key, so to make the camera move like so. And this is where I had to be a bit, you know, trickier, because again, since I decided to do the composite stuff, again, the dude was not present in here, so I had to separately shoot him and then her against the green background, and then put them here together. After that, so we have this movement down, and if you are really if you pay close attention, you may notice that there is some flickering going on, and that's because this dude in here had to be moved in space for it to look good, you know, for the shot, because I was filming this, you know, his reaction statically, but since the camera movement on this shot with the girl was moving down, yeah, I kind of had him move in space. I separately shot her just jumping here, you know, without the dude. Then I separately shot him against a green screen. Let's reveal that in project, like so. Yeah, so he was, you know, just doing the crossing arms interaction, and then third motion, he was doing, you know, this evading, like stepping back thing. So let's reveal in project once again. Where is it? I'm always losing that thing. Yeah, so this interaction. And so yeah, it's 3 clips put into one for this little piece in here. What was like 1 second? Yeah, just some dramatic cut on the close-up, you know, just to show that she has missed him. So nothing going on much here. Again, just some static shots, and him looking at her using the pick and mix sim turner, and him looking at her looking at him with the pick and mix sim turner as well. Bam, like so. Then in here, again, static shot, and he's just performing some interaction, and I believe that one was another Get Famous stuff. So one of them. Not much of a technique going on in, you know, the editing stuff. And then as for the action sequence, I mean, while it may look really, you know, like complicated and, well, at least it looks so to me, you know, like very dynamic. This is really just one Posebox and then performing these interactions one after another. The stuff that looks maybe in the most dramatic way was probably the easiest in terms of shooting. So yeah, this particular case, as you can see again, it's just one clip, one single layer, not much going on. The other thing that I have done in terms of editing is I have tried to do some, you know, cuts to emphasize some particular moments. So we start with this one close up, then just to show that they are fighting and their position relative to each other. Then some switching over to, you know, on action. Again, I thought this looked cool. And then in this case, I wanted just to show how he's pushing her with her shovel. Then this, another composite shot. So Rachel, you'll like this one. So this is where I show that he's trying to, you know, kind of knock her head off, and she is really clever to duck and evade the shot. So as you can see, it is combined of 4 layers. So we have just the ground in here. Then the second layer is her foot. When I try to do that using the green screen, and by the way, green screen is something that comes with Reshade. Let me put that in here. So it's called Chromakey. Yeah, if you go in here and you can set it up to appear where you want. So you can be really precise where you want this green screen to appear. Let me put it like that. So like so. If we go to Chromakey, so you can move it by moving this slider in here. So alternatively, if you're not using Reshade for some reason, there are these screens. I believe so everyone is using them, right? And so you can easily download some, you know, green. So no problem. This is also one of the alternatives that you can try and use. So yeah, that's what I was using here. So this dramatic shot was just, you know, 90 degrees angle here, and I put the green screen, and where is it? Just let me try and replicate how it was. So it was something like so, maybe. Yeah, like so, you know, just barely so that I could see as much of the stuff as I could. For some reason, I couldn't make her foot stay above the green screen. So that's why I had to separately add it as a static shot. So yeah, once again, to your question, Rachel, do I use static pictures? Yes, I do. One of them is just a foot, like so. I know, I find it pretty much hilarious. So then, the third thing is a nested sequence. You know, just her performing the... Oh yeah, that's where, this is where the nudge box comes in handy. So she is performing part of the, again, in this interaction, if you take notice of, you know, this one, I believe. No, the second one. At the end, like, sim 1 just distracts sim 2, and sim 2 is just like, what? What's going on? Huh? I don't know. So that's what she's doing here. She's still performing that simple interaction. And for me to make her duck like that, I used the nudge box thing. So let me put her here. So with nudge box hack, we can move separate body parts, you know, separately from all other ones. And one of them is the torso. So we can make her bend her torso. In this case, I believe it was forward. So I made her move it forward by 1 in 57. So if you do it like that and you have the game on pause, the game remains as is. And she may be like performing the interaction at this moment. But the moment that we unpause, well, she kind of performed this bending animation. And so that is exactly what I did. Yeah, so this is what I did here. So at first she was just standing, then I paused the game. I believe I have actually shot that, you know, in the video itself. Like so. Yeah, if we take a look, you'll be able to see that. It started like so, then I paused the game, I went and performed the interaction, I moved back to this position, and I unpaused the game. You know, it's just one continuous shot that cost 2 minutes, and then I just took 2 pieces, like this portion and then this portion. So yeah, sometimes you film like 10 minutes and you get only 30 seconds of that. That's just the reality. And then of course, yeah, the fourth layer that we have is the dude standing there and performing the baseball topic against a green screen. So again, if I reveal this in project, we'll be able to see that he's against the green screen. And all of those shots together give us this epic scene here. So then, from this angle, I thought that it may not look, you know, that clear, like how exactly what happened here if she ducked. Well, I mean, if she does duck, maybe it is clear. But still, like, I needed her to do the opposite, so she unducks. So again, not much going on. Again, another composite shot. This is where I have static background. I have one sim against green screen performing his stuff. She is performing some stuff against green screen. And then I'm just using the pieces separately that works the best way together. And yeah, we get this motion in here.
In this instance, with the static background, is that because you have the two subjects moving so close together that it would be just better to have a static background, or what's the use of the static background in this scene particularly?
Well, in this particular case, I could have just used not a static one, but just shot the video itself. I just believe that a static image is a bit easier on my PC, because when you have separate layers of footage, it can become a bit laggy, and the more you have, the harder it can become for the game to process it. And so, yeah, whenever you can use a static background, I guess it makes sense to use it. Especially since at the same time, so both of these, if we go into the effect control, so all of these effects, they can be turned off. So this is what it looked like in the beginning. Oh, yeah, and on top of that, I have also added the mask. So I have 3 shots, one of them is masked, and then I have a green screen effect on top of that. So that can be really, really taxing on your PC. So to make it a bit easier, one of the shots is a static screenshot. Oh yeah, this one was another composite one, because I don't remember why actually it was this way. But for some reason I had to make it this way too. Again, just the same technique, a static background, then I have this, I have her perform the interaction, and I have him react this way. Maybe this way it was easier for me to position him, this, and I had to catch this particular moment. Or maybe I couldn't, catch this shot in this case, like it was before. But anyway, yeah, another way for me to compose the shots. Okay, then moving on, we have another bird view eye. Same technique. So this is where I started to repeat myself. Static background, sim 1 and sim 2. And this way it's very easy to synchronize them both. So she's pushing him, and still she keeps performing one of these interactions. And with the dude here, I have come back to using the JD's animation box, and I believe that one was. Can you guess which one it was? Yeah, exactly. So when it's all put together, you seem like, whoa, how was that done? But when you break it down into smaller pieces, well, this is just a static screenshot that everyone knows how to do. This one is just, simple animation shot, and this one is just second one. But together, whoa, magic. This one. So, can you recognize what this interaction is? This will probably be the last one, and I'll stop with this quiz, I promise. Ice skate slipping. Yeah, exactly. Though, the ice skate slipping is something that I don't like using that much, and that is because it comes with these annoying effects. It's the same if you have the interaction that comes with, like something has to do with the swimming pool or, leaf pile. You have all of those, particle effects going on. Yeah, sometimes I try to be clever with just, my shot position so that, I don't get those. Sometimes I cut before the, the stuff starts appearing, because if you move the sim, the particles remain in the same place. So sometimes I do just like that, and it's enough. Like if we take my, we open up my Donnie project once again. So the very last scene that we get with Cassandra here. So where she is kicking, Don with her foot. So this is, let me see, I can reveal this in project as well. So reveal in project, yeah, this one. So you should be able to see some leaves going on, because this is the leaf pile kick interaction. Yeah, see this one, like this little leaf going on. So yeah, in this particular case, I cut just before the leaf appeared. So yeah, there are multiple ways that you can deal with those pesky particles. In this case, static background, we have sim 1, which is our hardworking potato, and she is doing, I believe it's, well, one of these, boxes made by The Only Exception, or, converted by the Only Exception, where she is kicking. I believe I found it, well, just by searching by kick, and it was this one. I really wanted to use this one. That comes from like conversion by Sims2 fan or from the Tomb Raider. But unfortunately, it is hidden behind the paywall. One of the downsides of currently residing in Russia is that I don't have the credit card to pay the measly $1 to be able to download, the box with the entirety of the poses that it comes with. because I think this one looks way cooler. You know, it has this like heavy impact. It really looks as if she's pushing something. But I believe I use this one, so this one looks pretty good too. And this one gives me the vibe of, you know, like this is Sparta movie. This is what I tried to reference with this box. One of the shots was her doing this interaction. And as you can see, well, her foot kind of becomes cut in there. That's because I have masked part of the footage. Because if I don't mask it in here, let me just show what it looks like. If I don't mask it, the reason I masked her is that her foot was kind of cutting him in in the middle or something like that. Yeah, like so. So you can see it kind of going through him. Then the second portion here is again him still performing the skate slipping, but I needed him to, you know, like go down once she kicks him with her foot. And so that's where, you know, some animation here kicks in. So if we just take him in the void, so he's slipping in place, and closer to the end, the footage kind of goes down. So that's something that you can do here in, you know, in Premiere Pro. So by moving these sliders, you can make your footage move where you want. And if you do that with the keyframes, you can have a starting position and an end position, and that makes it look as if, you know, the sim is falling in this particular case. Because otherwise, in the game, he's just stuck in place. Right, so we are almost there, dudes, and well, this workshop has been for 3 hours. Woo. So then this shot, as you can see towards the end, I again just reserved to one clips, just being together, no compositing. So yeah, in this particular case, he was performing the second part of ice skate and slip. So he just fell down, and she was just performing the second part. In this case, again, I just moved the camera to make it look as if, you know, if you put the camera a bit lower than the character, it looks as if the character, you know, is dominant. So that's one of the, you know, psychological techniques. So when you are shooting the character from above, you kind of, you know, assume the position of superiority. And so that's why I have, when I was shooting him, I kind of did that from above, you know, to imply that we are better than him. And with her, since she has, you know, become victorious over him, I was shooting her from below. And yeah, that kind of gets the psychological effect of superiority. So again, this was just, I believe, shout cup something animation. I'm not sure exactly which one it was. So she was just performing that. Again, not much going on here. Static shot, one interaction, pretty easy. And then yeah, as the ending shot, we have our Bella Goth standing here right next to a couple of boxes, cheering. And I believe that one came from the, you know, these Uber boxes is what I call them, like Uber paintings, you know, the doom of something. Or, yeah, I believe it was this one, the black one. So it was locomotion, cheer, woohoo. Yeah, so that's, oh. That kind of looks weird. I'm not sure why she's like that. Oh, yeah. What were you saying there about the porn? I have no freaking idea why she decided to sit like that on her bum. And then yeah, just add in some captions as the dialogue. The only portion of dialogue that we have in this whole machinima. Just, you know, to emphasize that we can tell a little story without saying one word. And yeah, just some interaction where Bella Goth is clapping, I mean, with her hands. And that one was from Talk Hack. It was, I believe, action or maybe reaction positive. Yeah, clap small or something. So clap small. Yeah, like so. And slowly adding just the cross dissolve, you know, to dip to black. As you know, the end shot. Whew! Alright. So that is pretty much it. Do you have any questions left? Please let me know. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I want all the links to your tools because I feel like they're really handy. Just not even for Machinima exclusively, but static story.
Oh, for sure, I can do that. And do you have any particular ones that you want me to put in links?
That object box, Marcus and I, the Charles box.
Okay, so
That
I'll put
have
that
never heard of.
here. And that's the stuff that I will later on put as
Mhm.
as the follow up. All right. So what else?
Basically, like, what was that that toy box? The cloned toy box.
Okay,
right
yeah, the
there.
accessory, and yeah, by the way, with it, so it comes with the pie menu, so you can spawn either accessory by just separately if you know what it's called. So this cup,
Uh-huh.
or what it has is the spawn all function. That's how I created this whole mess here.
Oh.
So yeah, it loads for a second, but then you get like I believe all the vanilla objects and even some custom
Oh, that's
ones.
so nice.
So I believe like
Yeah, that is so nice.
these bows come from I believe some Sun and Moon stuff.
Yeah, I would like that. It opens up possibilities. Like my brain's running, but like it was also very cool, and I very much appreciate you showing kind of the key, like from frame to frame, how you executed that.
Mhm.
Especially, I didn't even think about masking composites. Like I didn't even think about that, but that's really cool how you can do that to kind of get exactly what you need
Mhm.
in your scene.
Yeah, that's really cool, and I was really glad to share that with you because when I've figured it out while shooting the my Die Machinima, I was like, holy shit, that's like the technique that I will be using like from now on everywhere because again it's just so versatile. You can do all sorts of stuff with it.
What is that? It was the locomotion, that black framed picture at the front there, at the front of the lot.
Oh, this
that
one.
thing.
Oh yeah, this
Yeah.
okay. So that's one of the most used animations. I believe it's available at Inseminator too. So it combines like the majority of vanilla interactions, and I believe so there are two of them. They actually come like in pairs, and each of them has like 700 interactions. So
Wow. Okay. What is that crate on the ground? Like the crate in the middle front? I know that a lot of people use crates for like tattoo boxes.
Oh wait, you mean
stuff
this
like
one?
that. But what is this? Yeah, what is that?
I believe this is just the accessory that the kids pull up when they are standing, maybe like at the laminate stand, or because
that's just an accessory. Oh,
this
okay,
came
so
with
that
the
came from the
accessory stuff. Yeah.
I thought it was like a box because I know like
Mhm.
some people clone it for their tattoo boxes or like their hair overlay boxes. So I thought
Yeah.
it was like it did something. I was asking about that rotator. You said so I know of a rotator that F-Way made. What is the difference between the one F-Way made and the one that you were using for the object rotator?
F-Way
They-
made? What do you mean by that?
F-Way made a object rotator that does like I think 5 to 15 degrees.
Huh, I'm not sure if I have
But
that.
maybe it's the same thing as Anaseca.
Well, I know that this one is basically like a shelf with multiple slots, and they just rotated by I believe degrees of 5. And so to be able to rotate, you need to use the M button. That's the one that if you just use the table, you can switch between the slots. And
I'll put a link to the F-Way one. I don't know if there's maybe it does the same thing, and maybe F-Way just didn't know about it and kind of redid what Anaseca did.
All right, that'll be cool to see.
Way. I said there's no effing way.
Yeah, no.
Every time I see F-Way, I think of that.
Okay, so what else? Is there anything else? Maybe
Those were the ones on my mind that I were interested in.
Yeah, okay. Maybe if I just remember something else that I have mentioned earlier on, I will put that as well. But I believe the main ones I already put there in links. But yeah, I guess the majority of magic comes really from Premiere Pro and the compositing and the editing. Yeah, that's where you do all the crazy stuff.
Do you use Reshade when you film? Like, do you have any presets or filters on besides like the green screen or the thirds?
Yeah, of course. So I have some, as you can see, the picture itself was pretty vibrant. If I turned it off, well, it suddenly became bland. And yeah, I prefer this one much more. But actually, one of the maybe another tips that I should probably mention is that sometimes when you have all these effects on, especially the depth of field, maybe the chroma key, it can be really hard, to start clicking stuff. So
Oh yeah.
So what I started doing, like before that, I just created all these shortcuts to disable the particular effects one by one.
good idea.
Yeah, but then I started to notice that I forgot to enable them back. And so now I would have like one shot with a depth of field on, then the second one, since I just, well, I dumbass and I forgot to put it on, I would be without it, and I had this inconsistency. And so what I started doing is just disabling the reshade altogether. This way it's, you know, way easier for me to notice. Like, all right, I'm not in my reshade mode, and so I'm just switching between the full reshade and without the reshade mode. A better way than just disabling them one by one. I will probably need to maybe either update this preset or just, you know, list the effects that I'm using, like the, you know, this one that I was using for the guides. Okay, this I thought it was really cool to find out. I also think that you can find one that just, you know, creates the, you know, the cross one to get the exact center of the shot. Though I think even with the thirds you can find kind of, you know, position it somewhere in the center. So I'm not sure if that's necessary. Oh yeah, depth of field makes it looks blurry. Yeah, it's the one effect that you really need to fine tune when you have edited, and that's why if you notice, all the shots that I've created for this Machinima clip have no depth of field effect whatsoever, because I thought that to like add another layer of complexity that we really didn't need today. By the end, I really think that it was a good call not to include any sounds, even though I believe that sound design is very important. That's like maybe top one thing that can really change the way that you know, the Machinima perceived. So really, what this one is lacking is some music and some really good sound effects. You know, like with all the swooshes, with all the, you know, potatoes flying and the impacts. Once you add those, really like it starts shining on a whole new level. But yeah, as I mentioned, it's a whole like huge topic of itself that needs like a separate workshop. If there are no more questions or comments left, I suggest that's where we wrap up this pretty huge first workshop on Machinima. So it was pretty fun. Thank you all for participating with me today and asking all your insightful questions. It was a blast answering those. And yeah, I really hope we'll see more cool Machinimas from all over the net later on.
Thank you so much for taking the time to do this workshop. It was very informative.
It was my pleasure. I'm really looking forward to doing another one. But until then, goodbye and good luck to all of you.
All right. Have a good night.
Bye-bye. Good night.